and more coming up on the Monday Night Roar.
September 16th, students and faculty marched from Howard's Rock to the Carilion Garden for the Reclaim Old Main rally. Dr. Rhonda Thomas, a professor of 19th century African American literature, spoke to the participants of the event. Thomas said that Death Valley was once an African American community that worked for Clemson College. The march was organized by the support group called Coalition of Concerned Students, aimed at calling attention to the naming of Tillman Hall. The building is originally named after Governor Benjamin Tillman. This event is an additional to the one held in January after a controversial Christmas party. The crowd walked up the hill screaming, "Reclaim Old Main," and change the name. The Coalition of Concerned Students will host a meeting on October 5th in Lee Auditorium.
The return of College Game Day to Tigertown has been a buzzing topic ever since the Tigers are officially 3-0 and all heads are anticipantly turned towards the much-awaited Notre Dame-Clemson matchup. Given the Tiger win over Louisville past Thursday and the Notre Dame win over Georgia Tech, the showdown versus the Fighting Irish in Death Valley has created more anticipation. With the huge upset of Ole Miss beating Alabama on Saturday, there leaves no top 10 matchup that are currently undefeated. Assuming Notre Dame will roll over UMass this Saturday, this game will also highlight two undefeated ACC teams. Game day or not, producers are already preparing for this highly anticipated match, as earlier today, kickoff was officially set for prime time. The last time College Game Day came to Clemson was in 2013, when the number 3 Tigers were heartbreakingly beat by the number 5 FSU Seminoles. If Game Day does return to Clemson, we're hoping Lee Corso will be wearing Clemson gear instead of his ever-loyal Seminole garb. With that in mind, we'll see you in Death Valley on Saturday, October 3rd at 8 p.m. to watch our Tigers compete against the Fighting Irish.
Clemson has been given a $75 million grant from the federal government in order to create bandages that detect infections, flexible paper light bulbs that screw into light sockets, or food containers that notify you of an allergen inside. Through an Obama administration initiation, the Nationwide Network of Manufacturing Innovation, NNMI, a 5-year grant has been awarded to the Flex Tech Alliance from San Jose, California. Clemson is part of an alliance that is expected to research and develop advanced technologies and processing to put the U.S. on the cutting edge of the next generation of manufacturing. This is the first time Clemson has been a part of the NNMI grant, and the implications to the university and area could be huge.
Wondering why the Clemson intramural fields are littered with glitter? All signs lead to Kesha. The pop icon that rebranded herself as Kesha Rose rocked Clemson's campus Saturday night. The Tiger Paw Productions attracted numerous Clemson students as well as people throughout the upstate. Kesha displayed her values of self-love and individuality by displaying her support for marriage equality, highlighted in her giant blow-up rainbow that appeared on the stage. This performance has been described as a giant dance party and an opportunity for college kids to relive their tween years through belting out top hits such as Tick-Tock and Timber. Here's Trevor with your weekly forecast.
Thanks, guys. We're going to take a quick look at this week's weather for the week of September 21st. So, starting off with what's happening currently, it's about 75 degrees. Wind speeds are calm, 0 to 5 miles per hour, and the humidity and dew point are both 62% and degrees. Taking a look over here is webcam footage from earlier today. This is the reflection pond and the amphitheater in the background. The biggest story here are the clouds that you see in the distance. It wasn't sunny today, so it wasn't really hot. And this is because if we take a look at our radar, although there's no rain here, this is all clouds. This radar doesn't show it, but there are scattered showers in northern Georgia. If we zoom out more, you can see there is more moisture along the Gulf Coast in southern Mississippi into northern Alabama, and this is going to become a story for us later in the 7-day forecast that I'm going to show you right now. Taking a look at the temperature trend, clouds will linger around until about tomorrow night, but the rain chances will be low, around 20%. Temperatures are going to be comfortable, but they're going to be even more comfortable later in the week. But starting off now, for the first day of fall, which is this Wednesday, temperatures are going to be in the mid-80s and lows in the low to mid-60s. Same thing for Thursday, sunshine, but rain chances do increase as we get to the end of the week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so make sure you are prepared for rain during the day. Next, we've got the tropics. This is a visible satellite loop. This is what I showed you last week, except for this week, we have a tropical storm to talk about. This is Tropical Storm Ida. Ida is relatively weak, winds of 50 miles per hour. Even though Ida is large, it's not going to affect any land whatsoever anytime soon. This is the cone of uncertainty, the forecast track that the National Hurricane Center puts out. And you can see it's not going anywhere, really. It might become a hurricane, it might strengthen with time, but this is over 1,000 miles away from the eastern seaboard, so we have nothing to worry about here with Ida. The bottom line is basically rain chances will increase as we head towards the weekend and comfortable temperatures through this week, but the biggest one is that fall starts this Wednesday. That is what everyone is looking forward to, myself included. Weather fact of the week, 26 years ago tonight, Hurricane Hugo made landfall in Charleston, South Carolina as a Category 4 hurricane, which to date is the 11th strongest hurricane to make landfall in the United States on record in recorded history. Hugo was a big one, and a lot of people do remember Hugo quite well. Wrapping it out, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Trevor's Weather for more frequent updates since I'm only here once a week. And of course, like and follow Tigervision on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for all the updates you need. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Trevor. The See the Stripes campaign held their second annual diversity event. Any student or faculty member could read poetry, dance, or make music that reflects their personal diversity. The event was held on Lever Beach on Wednesday. The campaign began last year because of A.D. Carson's poem, See the Stripes. At the event, Carson said, "If you don't feel as though you're a part of what we know to be solid orange, then you can be the stripes. We're just asking that if we call ourselves Clemson Tigers, that is a mascot that we can look and be representative of, a more productive way to look at the tiger that has stripes." Carson explained that sharing Clemson's history is extremely important to him.
As Neil Donald Walsh once said, life begins when you step outside your comfort zone. Clemson is calling all students to entertain the idea of study abroad and seeing the world outside of the Tigertown bubble by attending the Study Abroad Fair. Students can stop by the Hendricks Center Ballrooms A and B on Wednesday, September 23rd between the hours of 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. to learn about all the exciting travel opportunities available to them as students. The Study Abroad Fair allows students to meet with program representatives and to talk to students who've already been abroad. Ultimately, attending the fair will help students discover why they would want to spend the best few weeks of their lives. Clemson University prides itself on having over 23% of its students study abroad, and students of all ages and majors are encouraged to attend.
A large oak tree was removed from Clemson University's Memorial Stadium. The university claims that the tree is dying and is a safety hazard. To replace it, a bald cypress tree will be put in its place in the lower seating hall. This cypress will not be planted until the 2015 football season is over. Clemson Athletics say that they will remove the tree before the next Notre Dame game on October 3rd. The next home game. Here is John Oliver with your latest in entertainment news.
Thanks, guys. It came as a shock to most when author, actress, and model Jackie Collins was pronounced dead this past Saturday. The British-born native was battling breast cancer for 6 years. Collins kept her illness to herself and close friends. I had the pleasure of meeting Jackie Collins and can say she was the epitome of class and elegance. She is survived by 3 daughters, 6 grandchildren, and her sister, actress Joan Collins. If you're planning on stripping at a Patti LaBelle concert, my advice, don't. This past weekend, a crazed fan ran up on the stage while the 71-year-old singer was performing Lady Marmalade. In an anger rage, LaBelle kicked the fan off. However, she later apologized for getting so upset. Want to catch the attention of a celebrity? Easy. Pull their hair. Kylie Jenner, while leaving a Chris Brown concert in LA this past weekend, was attacked by an excited fan. The 18-year-old was walking right before a tug on her luscious locks jolted her head backwards. Now I want to know, is her hair as real as her lips? Jennifer Lopez shut it down this past weekend at the iHeartRadio Music Festival in Las Vegas. The big booty singer sang her chart-topping classics, including Jenny from the Block, El Mismo Sol, and On the Floor. Lopez is kicking off a Vegas residency starting January 20th at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. Make sure to get tickets, and please take me with you. From spanking Anderson Cooper to twerking with Amy Schumer, Madonna is proving she can still bring down the house. The 57-year-old pop diva and icon kicked off the North American leg of her Rebel Heart tour at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Madonna belted out a melody of newer songs. However, did a few of the classics. One thing I wish Madonna would finally do is break out of that shell of hers. Thanks, guys. Hashtag back to you.
Thanks, John Oliver. Today marked the first day of Hazing Prevention Week at Clemson University that will be observed Monday, September 21st through Friday, September 25th. Although this is Clemson's inaugural year of this event, it also coincides with the National Hazing Prevention Week, sponsored nationwide by hazingprevention.org. Some events to be highlighted this week are a movie night on Monday night showing 2 films discussing hazing, a speech by Rep. Gary Clary on Wednesday, and hazing prevention speeches given by the ROTC on Thursday. Other organizations across campus, such as Central Spirit, the Tiger Band, and the Clemson Athletic Department, will hold additional events throughout the week. The founders of this event creating Hazing Prevention Week to showcase the Clemson family we all know and love. Now on to the sports.
A Clemson University employee has been arrested and charged in connection with misusing Clemson University funds, according to the South Carolina law official. SLED agents said that Shayna Lachey Grant, 34, is charged with a breach of trust, fraudulent intent. The charge is a felony, according to the arrest warrant. Grant was an administrative assistant at the Office of Communication Studies and fraudulently used Clemson University to obtain 231 Apple computer devices. The computers were valued at $216,000. Grant was released from the Pickens County Detention Center Wednesday on $20,000 Shirley bonds. Grant is no longer employed with the university.
Things are not just buggy in the Volkswagen world. U.S. regulators had started a federal investigation after having speculations that their VW installed software that allowed their vehicles to resemble a car that was more environmentally friendly than they actually are. On September 20th, CEO of Volkswagen had to apologizing for breaking its customers' trust after reports were released that the company had cheated on U.S. emissions tests. Since then, Volkswagen has halted all sales of U.S. models, and their shares have experienced the worst plunge in over 6 years. Now here's Florence with your latest sports.
Thanks, guys. As most of you know, Clemson squeezed out the win last Thursday night against Louisville. This improved the Tigers' overall record to 3-0. LSU proved to be a playoff contender after dominating Auburn 45-21. This knocked Auburn out of the top 25 and brought up some serious questions about their offense. The biggest game, however, came from the Ole Miss vs. Alabama game. The Rebels stunned the Crimson Tide after defeating Alabama for the second straight year. The highlight of the night came on a play from Ole Miss quarterback Chad Kelly throwing a 66-yard touchdown to take a 14-point lead. The Tigers have a bye week this weekend, but take on Notre Dame on October 3rd. ABC has just named this their primetime game for the week, and it kicks off at 8 o'clock. The Irish are currently ranked 6th in the AP poll and are undefeated after beating Georgia Tech over the weekend. That's it for this week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Horace. Apple had its annual event last week where they presented their newest products for the upcoming year. The biggest announcement was the unveiling of the newest iPhone 6s and 6 Plus. They will both come in 4 colors and will have a variety of new features. These features include a better camera, Force Touch that lets you use your voice to call Siri. In addition, Apple unveiled the iPad Pro, which is a bigger iPad. This iPad runs 1.8 times faster than the previous and comes with a keyboard. Apple also unveiled a new product called the Apple Pencil, which is an apparatus that helps sketching without lag and also thickness control. Apple revealed updated features in both Apple TV and Apple Watch. The sale of these products is expected to be available by early November.
Last week, Reuters reported that German bank Deutsche Bank is planning on firing about a quarter of the company's employees. In the past month, Deutsche has paid out billions in legal fees for things that are allegedly manipulated interest rates. Tax fraud and CEO resigned. This comes at a time of great conflict for the European banks, such as UniCredit of Italy and Britain's Barclays.
Three people hurt in an Alabama shooting. James Jr. Minter is 26 and is being held without bond for the shooting of his girlfriend, his infant son, and a pastor who tried to intervene Sunday morning, according to Selma police. It is thought that he was likely upset over a recent breakup and visitation issues. with visitation of his son. Minter was arrested after he opened fire during a church service at Oasis Tabernacle Church in East Salem, Alabama. Witnesses told the police that Minter entered the church and sat down in the front row between his girlfriend and the baby, then pulled out a handgun and started shooting. The girlfriend, 24, fell to the ground and Minter fired at her, striking her in the jaw and shoulder. The one-month-old was shot in the hand.
On September 18, 2015, the House Republican voted to cut all federal funding for the Planned Parenthood. Although the Democrats will most likely block this bill from becoming a law, the battle between the parties could lead to a government shutdown later this month. Congress has been investigating Planned Parenthood ever since a pro-life group released a series of undercover videos. These highlighted Planned Parenthood officials discussing and selling organs and tissues from aborted fetuses for a profit. This is happening in the midst of the government deciding on a budget. Some GOP lawmakers, including presidential candidate Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz, are projecting a government shutdown over this issue.
Pope Francis landed in Cuba on Saturday, quickly calling on the communist nation to open itself to the world, while praising the recent restoration of the diplomatic ties with the United States. President Raul greeted Francis. In his short speech, Francis also invoked Jose Marti, a Cuban hero, to deliver a veiled critique of Castro's, said Andrew Chestnut, a professor of Latin American history at Virginia Commonwealth University. Marti, a George Washington-type figure, died in 1895 during the War for Independence. Earlier Friday, the Department of Treasury and Commerce announced revisions to the existing Cuban sanctions in what is the third set of regulatory changes since the president announced that the United States could reestablish diplomatic relations with Cuba in December.
Thanks, Nick. The 2015 Emmys that aired on Sunday, September 21st, was certainly one for the books. Some noteworthy accomplishments, including Game of Thrones breaking the record for most wins in 1 year. Don Draper finally won his inaugural Emmy for lead actor in a drama. Most historically, Viola Davis is recognized as the first African-American woman to win an Emmy for lead actress in a drama. During her acceptance speech, she made a statement by saying, "The only thing that separates women of color from anyone else is opportunity. You cannot win an Emmy for roles that simply are not there."
For many of the people fleeing the Middle East, the migrant trail into Europe begins in the Turkish city of Izmir. Some of them have recently arrived in Turkey with their families from Syria, after catching flights or passenger ships from Lebanon. The smugglers arranging passage from Turkey to Greece all seem to change nearly the same prices. 12,000 euros or about 1,300 US dollars. But for the people who stood on the sidewalk in Izmir in front of travel agency offices, waiting anxiously to board the buses to the coast, the gamble was clearly worth the risk. Syrians who were fleeing feel as though they have no other choice. The coastline is the most dangerous leg of the journey. Now here's Nick with the latest in movies.
Hello and welcome back to Showtimes, your weekly update on all things movies. This weekend's box office held a relatively close race between the number 1 and 2 spot, but just as I predicted, Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials came out on top with a solid $30 million. Johnny Depp's Black Mass opened solidly in second place, but is getting the much better reviews of the two. I was able to see Black Mass over the weekend, and I have to say I highly recommend it for anybody looking for a solid gangster pick. This upcoming weekend returns us to a more lackluster lineup and features the animated Hotel Transylvania 2, starring Adam Sandler, The Intern, which features Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro, and Maze Runner will be fighting to hold on to that top spot after all is said and done, but I predict that Hotel Transylvania 2 will just barely edge out the young adult film for the top spot. At home this week, Redbox has a real treat for us. Mad Max Fury Road is available to rent, and I cannot recommend this movie enough. It's the perfect example of a real action movie today, and it's my favorite movie of the year so far. You can also pick up Boulevard, which is the final film of the late, great Robin Williams, so look for a bittersweet time with that one. Netflix doesn't offer much in the realm of added movies this week, but you can catch Season 1 of the Batman prequel Gotham today, as well as Season 5 of Portlandia. And the latest season of The Walking Dead will be available over the weekend. Finally, I'm introducing a new segment where I recommend an underrated and under-the-radar film for you guys from Netflix. The movie could be from any year, but it will be something that I feel as though very few people have seen. This week, I'm recommending Frank, starring Michael Fassbender and Dumal Gleason. It follows Gleason as he joins Fassbender's band while they make a new album, but Fassbender is weird. He wears a papier-mâché head the entire movie. It's weird, it's funny, and it's heartfelt, and that's my under-radar pick of the week. That's all I've got for you this week. Check back next week for more movie-related nonsense.
That's all for tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Be sure to like our Clemson page and follow us on Twitter. Have a great evening, Clemson, and we'll see you next week on the Monday Night Roar.